Good morning. This is Claudia de Fuentes from the Sobey School of Business at St. Mary's University. In this session, we are going to be talking about defining and understanding the challenge of design thinking. Design thinking, as we talked in the session before, has to do with it's a human-centered design methodology. Puts humans at the center, the values, the needs, the culture that they have to provide a solution that is going to be actually used and actually is going to solve the problems that they have. So understanding human behavior is critical for design thinking. I can give you an example. There's Jerry Sterling. He is the founder of the Positive Deviance Initiative, and he was a professor at Tufts University. He was very skilled in identifying problems, but beyond the problem, identifying what were the root causes of those problems and what potential solutions would be ideally implemented to solve that problem. He was very interested also in solving developmental challenges. In one of his projects, he went to Vietnam to try to address the malnourishment problem in children in Vietnam. And he identified that after many initiatives that have been tried, nothing was working. So what he did, he observed the community of rice producers whose children were within the children with a higher malnourishment problem. So he identified the outliers of those children. What do outliers mean in this case? That means those children that were a little bit more better nourished, and he identified that the parents of these children, when they were doing the harvesting of the rice, they were also collecting little crabs, little shellfish that they would find in the fields. And they were feeding them to their children. So he identified actually the solution that could be applied to the rest of the people living in the village. So he asked this family to give talks to the people in the village, and later, little by little, the people in the village start adopting that same type of solution, contributing in a positive way to address the malnourishment problem for children in Vietnam. So it's very important that we create that design thinking mindset. What does that mean? That means identifying, being able to identify problems, but without judging them first. Being able to identify the problem without trying to jump to the solution right away. So for that, we need to develop the creative confidence. We need to create also empathy, be optimist, also iterate, be able to iterate, and recognize that we have to move faster to the learning stage and to bring back the learning components to the solution that we want to provide. And also we have to be confident with embracing ambiguity, because many times we go out to the field, we go out to interview people with some preconceptions in mind, but then we have to be ready to discover things that perhaps we didn't see before. And also we have to develop that ability to learn from failure. Okay, in this session, we are going to work on understanding the challenge. You're going to be designing the challenge that is relevant to that particular organization, on that particular individual that you have in mind. You're going to be working on the design challenge worksheet that is available to you online. What do we have to do? You have to identify what are those possible topics that you would like to tackle. So keep asking the question, what keeps you up at night? What type of opportunities would you like to tap for design thinking? What problems are you noticing in that particular setting? So once you identify the problem that you want to tackle, ask 4 questions. The first one is, why is that a problem? Try to answer that question. The second one is, who has that problem? What potential users you have identified that have that problem? The third question is, when does that problem occur? It's very important to identify in what timeline is the problem presented. And the fourth question is that problem being solved today? And if so, that's fine. Perhaps that's not the optimal solution. How is that problem solved today? Perhaps you're going to have a multiple number of problems. What you have to do as a second step is choose one of those problems that you have. The third thing that you're going to do is that you're going to frame that problem, that challenge, into a how might we. Why do I want you to do that? Because if we create or we use those words, how might we, that actually doesn't necessarily provide a solution right away, but that opens a window of opportunities for identifying multiple solutions, multiple possible solutions to the problem we have at hand. The fourth thing that you will need to do is identify measures of success. From the people that you identify, from the users that you identify that have the problem now, what do you think would be measures of success for them if that problem is solved? And then you're going to identify some of the constraints that you may have. Do you have constraints in terms of financial resources? Do you have constraints in terms of human resources? Do you have constraints in terms of access to technology, access to individuals? List the constraints that you may have. So by following the design thinking worksheet, I am sure and I'm confident that you would be able to identify the challenge that you're going to be bringing to the next stages of design thinking. Thank you.